What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react to a pretty recent news story that's got me pretty worked up, to be honest. It says here that the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, held two Canadian toddlers in custody for weeks. Weeks. What is this? Like, is this as crazy as it sounds? Does anyone else think this sounds absolutely insane? Because I really want to learn more about what happened here. Because also, this wasn't big news in the United States. I hadn't even heard about this till now. This happened 2 weeks ago. They reported about this. I didn't hear anything. The fact that this isn't bigger news is disturbing for me. And I don't know. Again, I don't know the details, but on its face, this makes America look horrible. This is terrible, objectively. And I've heard that these ICE detainment facilities are awful, like horrible conditions. So the idea of literal children having to endure that is beyond disturbing. It's insane. I think that's the word, insane. So let's learn more about this. Let's take a look.
Turning now to south of the border, two Canadian toddlers, both under the age of 4, have been held in custody by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement this year, and one of those children was held for 51 days under the age of 4. This.
What? Okay. All right. 51 days. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 7 weeks? Over 7 weeks? Am I doing the math right? Never have I wanted my math to be wrong more ever than now. That's like 7 weeks of a little kid? They said under 4. What exactly... Okay, I have so many questions. I'm sure everybody has a lot of questions about this, because it's like some part of me, the American part of me, is trying to be like, please make it make sense. Make it make any sense, please. What is the reason? Are these two toddlers, do they happen to be mass serial killers? Is that the reason? No, I doubt it. But I do want to know, like, what's going on. What they were subjected to, where were they held in custody? Where are their parents? Who's taking care of them? Why did it have to be so long? So, yeah. So disturbing. Let's see.
This is based on new data obtained by the Globe and Mail. Nearly 150 Canadians have been detained by ICE officers this year, so 149. That is on pace to double the number of Canadians detained when we look at the entirety of 2024. For a closer look at these detentions, I'm joined in studio by Catherine Blaisbaum with the Globe and Mail. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
You know, I have 3 children. I know what they're like when they're little. I mean, thinking about the fact that these 2 children, they're little, under the age of 4 years old.
Yeah, I have a baby who's still very young, just like a couple months old. And so not a toddler, but like, I can imagine. I think that's why it kind of disturbs me on such a deep level. Honestly, this should be disturbing to anybody. Anybody can get it. It doesn't take a genius to see something is utterly wrong here, but certainly if you're around children of that age, this is just the thought of picturing them in this situation is so incredibly sad.
held in these facilities. Who are these kids? What do we know about them? And what do we know about the conditions?
I too am a mom of 3, and it was horrifying reading through details about the facility where they were being held. So what we do know is that these 2 children were held for weeks. One of them held for more than 7 weeks at a facility in South Texas that is at the center of allegations of not providing adequate drinking water, mothers who can't access formula for their babies, no soap to clean their bottles, children who don't have toys, guards taking, a doll away from a little girl.
This is difficult to even listen to. This is sick. Guards taking away a girl's doll. What the hell is going on in the United States right now? And the fact that this isn't really a topic of discussion, I think what it is for a lot of Americans, like there's a lot of people who immigrated into the United States illegally. They committed a crime. It's against the law. You can't just illegally come into the United States, and so now a lot of people are being deported and whatnot. And if you're a legitimate criminal, okay, fine. Then maybe you deserve to be treated like a criminal, of course, under the due process of law, and maybe you've been sent out of the United States if, that fine. A lot of enough Americans understand that, and I think if it's done in a reasonable way to legitimate people who legitimately break the law, okay, fine, sure, that sounds fine. But I don't think most Americans understand what's happening to there was a Canadian woman that I did a video about a few weeks ago who was detained pretty much unlawfully for no real reason for weeks, and had to make a big media buzz about it to even get released, and felt like she was going to be trapped by ICE for the rest of her life. And the idea of adults, full-grown adults going through this is horrifying enough. I could picture if I was in these weird random detainment centers in Texas, where guards are spitting on me and taking my doll away. Okay, but I always thought, okay, but it's adults, it's horrible, but no, it's not. It's not even just it's children. Now I know. Now I am burdened with this horrible truth, which honestly is good. You can't just pretend things like this aren't happening. That's the worst thing you can do. But now I know. There's literal children. In this example, 2 Canadian children just sitting in this random prison, basically in Texas. But let's learn more. Were they released? Was this figured out? Were their parents getting deported and they didn't know what to do with the children? Why?
No access to medical treatment or reduced access to medical treatment. So very challenging circumstances for these families, including these 2 Canadian children. We do know that both of them have been released. They were detained separately. These are 2 separate families, we understand, based on the data.
Okay.
Both detained in May, one released a couple weeks later, and then the other one, the data showed that this person and their grown-up, along with another child, were released in mid-July.
Do you know why?
They were released? They were all released. I'm so confused. Does that mean they didn't do anything wrong? I really wish we had more details here. Maybe we'll get more details, but it's so you're telling me there was no real reason why they had to go through that? I don't think there's ever really a justifiable reason to put children through this, but I'm just saying, there's not even some stupid reason from the American government why this happened. It's just they were detained for weeks and then let go, which to me says it was all pointless. And inevitably in these deportation situations where there are families with children, this kind of thing is going to, the government is going to have to interact with children and detain their parents, and it's going to happen, and it's very sad, but why are we so freaking bad at it? Are we going out of our way to make it the worst experience possible for the children? For criminals, illegal immigrants, Okay, fine. Like, even then, why does it have to be like, we shouldn't be violating human rights, obviously. But okay, but for the children, like, how much effort would it be for us to designate some kind of like board or oversight into how we treat children in these circumstances? How difficult would that be? We have all sorts of oversight committees and government policies over all sorts of stupid things that don't matter. And we can't bother to spend some budget to make sure that innocent children are treated decently in like probably the most stressful period of their entire short life, and their families being torn apart. We can't, there's nothing we can do. There's not a single thing we can do to do that better. That's also what I'm hearing here.
Do you know why they were detained? Like what the reason was?
What we do know, based on the data analysis, is that they were detained with what appear to be grown-ups. We don't know if they are their mothers, but in the case of one of the children, it was a Bolivian mother. In the other, it was a Congolese woman. And it appears that they were picked up for what are known as other immigration violations. So no criminal record, but rather some other immigration violation. And they have been...
The child? The child or the mothers? Like... So the mothers who are Canadian were violating some kind of immigration policy, some immigration law. Perhaps they should have been aware of that. If you're doing that, traveling between countries, immigrating, you should know what you're doing. Let's be honest. You should be educated on that. So maybe there's no excuse for the mothers. I don't know, one way or the other. But for children, children... especially under 4, like they're innocent,
placed into what are described as expedited removal proceedings with a credible fear referral. So they are claiming
what does that mean?
Yeah, they are claiming that if they are sent home, that they fear persecution.
Got it.
And now, we don't know what happened to them. We don't know where they are. We are actively trying to find them. They're just one of many people who are
being held right now. Speaking of many people, how
the mothers? Okay, so I thought it was like good that the children are out of that custody of the U.S. That is good, but it sounds like their mothers are. I don't even know. I don't even understand based on what they're just gone. They're missing. Nobody knows. Are they in Texas? Are they what? What happened to their moms?
How many Canadians are still in custody?
Current to the end of July, 56 Canadians were still being detained who had been arrested under the Trump administration.
Why? Do we know?
Why do we know?
Variety of reasons.
The most common reason is due to criminal charges. So under American immigration law, if you have a criminal record, even if it's something from the 80s, and it could be possession of a drug, if you are a non-U.S. resident, you are at risk of being removed from the country. And so for 70% of the...
I don't. See, this... I have a huge problem with how they're treating the children who are innocent, but it's like... if you're a full-grown adult, like you need to be aware of these things. Like, and yes, we can, deliberate and argue whether these immigration laws are stupid or overdone or objectively if they're good policies or not. Maybe they're not, but for better or for worse, you need to be aware of what the law is right now if you are affected by it. And yeah, these are Canadians who are permanent residents in the United States who have committed crimes. I don't know. I don't really feel that bad for them unless I'm sure I'm missing something. I very well could be, but that seems like, okay, the United States it's sad that they're Canadian, but we're getting rid of literal criminals. I'm not going to shed a tear for that, really. But this whole Toddler thing, really, it just kind of shows like a lot of gross incompetence that the United States is displaying.
These Canadians, that is some version of what they are being detained for, a criminal record. For the other 30%, it could be things like an overstay of a visa, or perhaps they crossed between border crossings, sort of an irregular crossing, it's described as.
See, that sounds stupid. There's things like if you come to America and you break the law and sell drugs and steal. I don't have much sympathy for that. But if you do something like you accidentally overstay, you accidentally mess up your border crossing, the punishment should fit the crime. That's kind of like, I don't know, do we need to go back to Roman times here? The punishment should fit the crime. You shouldn't be locked away in a random detainment center for months and forgotten about if you're just a random Canadian who overstayed by 3 days or something. That's an example of something that's not right.
Where are they being held, these Canadians?
These Canadians are being held across, it was a lot of data analysis. Shout out to Mahima at the Globe and Mail. It was crazy. As you can see on this map, they are spread across 34 facilities in the United States, concentrated in the South.
Wow.
These include privately run facilities, county jails, state prisons that are not meant to hold immigration detainees, but
I think the scariest ones are the privately owned detainment centers. That's just private prisons that make money from having prisoners. That's like the scariest thing ever.
Under the Trump administration have entered into agreements with ICE to hold people like these Canadians.
What kind of action has Global Affairs Canada
Okay, yeah, I don't like this. Why we're sending, sure, people who have broken the law, but some of them are more innocent than others. There's some gray area here, and they're being sent to these weird, independently run, who the hell knows what's going on there, facilities?
taken?
That's a great question, and it is entirely opaque. We have asked them time and time again, ever since a Canadian died in custody at the end of June in Miami. All that they will really say is...
What? What did they say? What? A Canadian died in U.S. custody? Why did I never hear about that?
Custody at the end of June in Miami. All that they will really say is, we are providing consular assistance. We can't tell you anything else, citing privacy concerns. They wouldn't even give us a snapshot of where these people were located or a range of age or anything that might give any indication of who these Canadians are. And that's why it took us going through data that was obtained through freedom of information litigation by people in the United States through litigation to figure out where the Canadians are.
Wow.
Really unbelievable.
Wow. Scary.
Thank you for amazing reporting, Catherine Blazebaum with the Globe and Mail. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was really good. That was a really good. That's awesome that they went through all this effort to like make all this information known, because it is really important. Because it is so disturbing, and more Americans need to be aware of all this stuff going on. I swear. This whole thing was disturbing to me on so many different levels for so many reasons. So, but I am really glad to have learned about it. Sounds like the kids are out of custody of the U.S., which is good, but maybe they'll never see their moms again. It's just too sad. But anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on this story of Canadian toddlers being held in U.S. detention for weeks. Crazy. It'd be cool to hear other thoughts on that. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and learning and seeing Canadian things I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.